Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa of Ondo State to contest in the next governorship election in the state in 2028. The decision of the appellate court also put on hold the pending judgment of the Federal High Court sitting in Akure on a suit filed by Dr. Akindele Egbowalo, a chieftain of All Progressives Congress APC, seeking the interpretation of Section 137 subsection 3 of the Constitution on eligibility of Governor Aiyedatiwa to contest in governorship election again. The Federal High Court, presided over by Justice Toyin Adegoke, had fixed Wednesday, January 28, 2026 to deliver her judgment on the suit. The appellate court, led by Justice Peter Afen, said it will be in the interest of justice to allow the trial judge to respond to weighty allegations against him. The defendants, through their counsels, led by Solomon Awomolo, filed a petition against the conduct of the trial court, asking the Court of Appeal to prevent Justice Adegoke from delivering the judgment pending the determination of the interlocutory appeals before it. Awomolo said after the judgment that the implication of the decision was that the trial court must suspend judgment and all further proceedings until further notice.
The court above is not faced with great accompli. In other words, it's not made, the appeal is not rendered academic or useless or ineffective by reason of judgment which will have disposed of the whole thing.
Ondo State Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa says the All Progressives Congress must embrace inclusive reforms, strengthen internal democracy, and entrench merit-based leadership, noting that the public hearing on the constitutional review of the party is not a routine political engagement, but a solemn democratic exercise that speaks to the ideological confidence, organizational maturity, and reformist courage of the party. Governor Aiyedatiwa, at an event held in Akure, said political parties endure not merely by winning elections but by building strong internal institutions, stressing that constitution of a party is not a procedural manual alone but an ethical anchor governing philosophy and the prism through which power is exercised, restrained, and legitimized. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole reports that the event was attended by party faithful from across the southwest region.
The banquet hall of the Ondo State Government House in Akure was the meeting point as leaders and members of the All Progressives Congress APC from the southwest zone of the country gathered for the party's Constitutional Review Summit. Welcoming dignitaries and attendees, the caretaker chairman of the party in Ondo State, Ade Adetimei, said the public hearing is a testament to the party's resolve to always promote internal democracy.
In Ondo State, ability to sustain peace within the party remains one of our greatest strengths. We have consistently resolved issues internally through data, consultation, and respect for party sources.
The vice chairman of the party, Southwest, Aziz Kekemeke, and a federal lawmaker who is also a member of the Constitutional Review Committee, Miriam Unoha, said the importance of the exercise to the overall growth and advancement of the party and members cannot be overemphasized.
Part of the innovations that we are bringing into party management to make our party an efficient and efficacious political platform for seeking power and retaining power for responsible use.
APC has become a global party and one that has become a home for other political party members who are seeking the best interest of their political ambitions and for our national development.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, represented by his deputy Babafemi Hamzat, who described Ondo State as a state of giants, commended the courageous leadership of the late Governor Oluwarotimi Akeredolu and applauded Governor Aiyedatiwa for the defining governance in the state.
People will say things like, oh, they are turning the country into one party state. That's baloney. If your brother is in a sun or it's raining and the umbrella is torn, what do you
the host governor, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, who said the decision to review the constitution of the party as approved by President Bola Tinubu reflects statesmanship, foresight and fidelity to democratic process. The governor said the public hearing as part of nationwide consultative process across the 6 geopolitical zones is a clear affirmation that internal democracy is not an option for APC but fundamental. Aiyedatiwa opined that through the open, transparent and participatory mechanism, the voices of party members, stakeholders and critical interest groups are being deliberately invited into the heart of the party governance.
Let me affirm that I'm particularly encouraged by the breadth and inclusivity of this engagement, bringing together international democracy support institutions, civil society actors, women and youth groups, persons living with disabilities, legislators, both at the national, state and local government levels, party administrators, and grassroots representatives. This diversity is not incidental, it is very, very essential. For a constitution that excludes voices ultimately weakens the institution it seeks to guide.
Governor Aiyedatiwa, who noted that the choice of Akure as host was not accidental, rather the state has consistently stood on the side of principle over expediency and institutions over personalities.
It is our conviction that the APC of the future must continue to be a party where rules are clear, processes are credible, participation is guaranteed, and leadership emerges through merit, service, and integrity. On behalf of the government and good people of Ondo State, hereby formally declare the Southwest Zonal Public Hearing on the amendment of the Constitution of the All Progressive Congress APC open.
He commended the chairman, members and secretariat of the Constitution Amendment Committee for their diligence and organizational depth, while appreciating all delegates and stakeholders whose memoranda and contributions will enrich the process and shape its final outcomes. Key followers of the polity believe that the summit will be guided by equity, justice, transparency, and the overarching objective of party unity and national stability. From the banquet hall of the Government House in Akure, Wahab Bankole, Osrc News.
In another development, the chairman and chief executive officer of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, retired Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, has disclosed that about 15 million Nigerians aged 15 to 64 are using illicit drugs, nearly 3 times the global average. Marwa shared the statistics during a courtesy visit to Ondo State Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa at the governor's office in Akure. He presented detailed data on drug use prevalence, enforcement successes, and cannabis production nationwide, with a special focus on Ondo State, drawing from the 2018 United Nations Drug Use Survey. Government House correspondent Wahab Bankole again reports.
The delegation from the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, was led by Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, retired Brigadier General Mohammed Marwa, to strategize on curbing illicit drug use, trafficking, and to launch the agency's Alternative Development Program in Ondo State. Marwa explained that NDLEA established an Alternative Development Unit at its headquarters to go beyond law enforcement but engage cannabis growing communities by encouraging them to shift from illegal cultivation to legal crops through community development initiatives. Key components include providing farm inputs, building infrastructure, schools and clinics, plus ensuring access to markets for sustainable livelihoods. Ondo State was selected for the program's pilot after a year of consultations with local cannabis producing communities.
We are aware that there's some medicinal value in cannabis extracted oil, cannabis oil. Indeed, if such oil was cultivated, extracted, and exported in a controlled environment, it could be a veritable source of foreign exchange, which is much needed funds for execution of projects. With this in mind, the National Drug Enforcement Agency has commissioned the foremost scientific body in Nigeria Academy of Science, to conduct a study on this.
The NDLA chief highlighted the destructive impacts of drug abuse on families and communities, linking it to increased criminal activities like terrorism and kidnapping. He cited intelligence suggesting kidnappers operate from areas with cannabis cultivation. The governor of Ondo State, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, pledged his administration's support for the NDLA's efforts, including their alternative development program aimed at providing alternative livelihoods for farmers involved in illicit drug cultivation. He praised the NDLA chief for leading the initiative personally.
You have not asked your secretary or the director of that unit to come to the state, but you have personally come in leading the team. It shows your level of commitment, dedication to this task of making our states, our country safe for illicit drug cultivation, production, commercialization, and even consumption. So I want to thank you for the work you have been doing as the leader of this agency. From time to time, we have seen chairman of NDA passing the baton from one leader to the other. And your own tenure has been one of the leadership has been very, very forthright, and now you have also conceived an idea, apart from enforcement, which has been the major tool that the agencies have been using over the years. You have conceived another initiative of this alternative development program other than enforcement.
The governor appreciated the NDLEA for choosing the state as the pilot for the alternative development program, noting that Ondo State is the largest cannabis producer in Nigeria, but also a major producer of legitimate crops like cocoa due to its forest and fertile soil. Aiyedatiwa promised government support, citing past help with vehicles and logistics for enforcement.
We will not lose the sight of the fact that there are still some of our people who engaged strongly in cultivation of this illicit product, which we are trying to now discourage by providing alternative development program for them where they can grow other crops and they can still make a living.
The governor welcomed the idea of setting up an alternative development unit in Ondo State, suggesting it could fall under his office in partnership with the Agriculture Ministry and advisors. He emphasized engaging communities, traditional leaders, churches, and mosques to drive behavioral change among those involved in illicit activities. Wahab Bankole, Osrc.
Meanwhile, National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) says it is intensifying efforts to curb the spread of illicit drug use across the country. Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of NDLEA, Mohammed Boba Marwa, stated this during a courtesy visit to traditional rulers and religious leaders in Akure, the Ondo State capital. Blessing Obe brings us details.
Hard drugs are substances that pose serious risk to human health and social stability. According to the United Nations 2018 Drug Use Survey, about 15 million Nigerians are involved in hard drug consumption. In an effort to combat this growing menace and create awareness about its latest initiatives, national officers of National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) paid a courtesy visit to the DG of Akure. The chairman of NDLEA, retired Brigadier General Mohammed Buba Marwa, described Ondo State the highest producer of cannabis in Nigeria, noting that the agency is engaging cannabis growers with the aim of transitioning them to controlled cultivation strictly for medicinal purposes.
Appeal to them to switch from cannabis to something legitimate that will give them income also, and they can live well with their families instead of always living in apprehension and worry because of fear of arrest. And so we want to reach this category and appeal to them, have a conversation with them, stop planting cannabis, plant something else that is legitimate. So we decided to start this pilot project from Ondo State.
The DG of Akure, Obalade Toyinbo Aladelusi, pledged support for the agency's activities, assuring of collaboration to curb drug abuse in the state.
Our youth is our future, so we have to take care of them. Whatever way that we want and bring people or we to work with you, whatever way, we will do it.
NDLEA officials also visited the chief imam of Akure to seek support in promoting moral guidance and behavioral change as part of the advocacy.
Alcohol, smoking, this cannabis or whatever, it is forbidden. We are giving you that support, sir. And I want to tell you that the action is starting right now. The chief of Akure has said it and is doing it. That is going to be. That is how it's going to be. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it easy for us to do.
The agency later met with leaders of Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, who expressed readiness to partner NDLEA in sensitizing the public against drug abuse.
We must work together to provide support and alternative development for victims. Therefore, we commend the NDLEA efforts in enforcement, but also need rehabilitation and reintegration programs to help the people who are victims. Our churches are willing to partner in providing spiritual guidance. As a body, we are privileged to collaborate with LDLEA in addressing this issue. We are very much ready because it's a task that is actually given to us by religious leaders. But you are also gingering us up to go about it.
NDLEA says it will continue to strengthen collaboration with key stakeholders to reduce drug abuse and its impact on society. Blessing Obi, Osrc News.
In other stories now, there are growing concerns in Akure, the state capital of Ondo State, over the escalating cost of housing. Youths took to the streets of Akure in a loud and organized protest against what they describe arbitrary and relentless increases in house rents, coupled with unchecked practices by landlords and property owners, that's property agents. Our reporter Joy Pius was on the ground as several young people marched through major streets of the city to register their displeasure.
The streets of Akure echoed with chants and solidarity songs as calls of youths vented their frustration over the worsening housing crisis in Ondo State. carrying placards with inscriptions such as "Rent hike is killing us," "Stop exploiting tenants," and "Government regulates now." The protesters marched peacefully from the popular Ojaoba area through Major Arakale down to Governor's office, drawing the attention of passers-by and motorists alike. The demonstrators say persistent rent increases have pushed decent accommodation far beyond the reach of many young people and working class families. Some residents, they claim, are now teetering on the edge of homelessness, while others have been forced into cramped, overcrowded and sometimes unhealthy living conditions just to keep a roof over their heads. The protesters called on Ondo State government to urgently intervene by launching a digital housing regulation. They believe such initiative would track rent agreements, monitor landlord and agent activities, protect tenants from exploitation, and significantly generate the much-needed internally generated revenue for the state through registration fees and compliance levies. The group vowed to sustain pressure until concrete steps are taken to address the crisis.
We are here this afternoon to show grievances about some of the exhibition of the so-called landlords and agents in Ondo State. Before now, a room is less than 30,000 naira, 35,000 naira. But especially in Akure, a single room in Akure is around 100,000. Two-bedroom flat in Akure is between 500,000 and 1 million naira. A state whereby majority are civil servants and what I call it, people who actually sell million things. So this exorbitant amount of money, we cannot control it, we cannot enjoy it. It's on this premise that we took to the streets we took to the streets this afternoon to show our grievances and to show our agitation. And before now, we've written a lot of letters stating our demands, stating our agitation. And one of the demands is that all these agents must be duly registered so that anybody that want to defraud or anybody that want to mystify, we can actually work. Can you say, oh, this person because it is registered with the government. And so it's true, there must be a price control from both the government must have with this landlord, there must be a price control. So these are some of the reasons why we decided to actually come out this afternoon to show our grievances.
Responding to the agitations, the state government, through the Senior Special Assistant to the Governor on Security Matters, Charles Atiba, pledged the government's resolve to look into the demands of the protesters.
They are citizens of the state and they have a right to protest. But the first thing you will notice is we have government arms that are responsible for this kind of thing, but they have decided to bring their grievance to the governor's office. Mr. Governor is a distinct governor, even when the landlords has a right over their houses, but Mr. Governor will look very deep into it. Call a meeting, interact with them. As you are aware that there is anti-land grabbing this thing now, that you can't just use your land to scam people or to make life difficult for people. Now there is a regulation the same way. So they should just go and calm down. At the appropriate time, Mr. Governor will look into this. He has the knowledge, he has a very fair knowledge of what goes on. It's not a governor that is far from the people. Mr. Governor has his ears to the ground. He's well connected to the populace. He will do the needful at the right time, and I can tell you that by the time he finishes, you see laws, committee will first of all come, laws will now come, then actions will start.
The demonstration signposts the widespread anger over housing affordability, with high hopes that it would force authorities to act swiftly. Joy Pius, Osrc News.
The unidentified body sighted this morning along the Arakale area of Akure, the state capital, has been evacuated. Speaking on our news update today, the State Police Public Relations Officer, Jimo Kazim, confirmed that the Akure South local government, through its environmental unit, carried out the evacuation. According to him, the command is still investigating the cause of death and working to establish the identity of the deceased. Kasim also denied allegations of harassment and forceful accusations by officers, while assuring the public of the command's commitment to upholding professional ethics in the discharge of their duties. The former head of service in Ondo State, Alaba Ishijala, has passed away. A family member who confirmed the news said Ishijala died on Tuesday night. Details of the circumstances remain unavailable as of the time of this report. Ishijala, a native of Owo in our local government area, served for several years and earned praise for his public service contributions and administrative reforms. He was aged 73. May his soul rest in peace. And that's it on Sunshine Report. Many thanks for your time. Good afternoon.